halfway through our competition and it's round 4. Plenty of points still to be won and lost as we start our search for the Superchamps of '94. Welcome to the 4th round of Superchamps '94! Yay! Once again, we're at the Foss Hill Jet Ski Centre, which, although it's in North Humberside, is in East Yorkshire. And it's action all the way as we continue the search for this year's Superchamps! Yay! Now, after 3 rounds, the Sharks are leading by 33 points. But snapping at their heels and very, very close behind are the Eagles and the Wasps. They're both on 31 points. And although in 4th position, the Tigers are only 4 points away on 27, so it's a really close-fought battle as we go into round 4. Now, I was going to introduce you to Matthew Davis, but I've lost him. Matty, where are you? Matty! Come on, call Matty! Matty!
Liz, I was hoping to have a go of the Argos today, but I wasn't wearing the right safety gear, right? And Hunter spotted me and he said I couldn't have a go. I couldn't believe it. Oh.
No safety gear, no ride.
Oh, there's a man not to mess with. Well, it looks as though it's going to be a spectacular heat today, with water being the key element to winning points. The water wall is back, and that means trouble, but there's no point in the competitors drying off because the jet skis guarantee a spectacular climax to the heat. And if that's not enough, the Argos have been washed down and serviced after their last outing, ready for round 4.
We're up on the track for event number 1, and it's the Desert Star race. We've already held time trials with our lads, and we've divided them into grids. Now, at the back of the grid is Gavin Richardson for the Sharks. Gavin, you've got a lot of people to go through in front of you. How are you going to get to the front?
I'm going to try sneaking through on the inside of the bank con and then booting it out.
Ooh, sounds dangerous. OK, let's move on to the Wasps, and it's Bryn Hawkins. Bryn, you've got 2 fellas in front of you. How are you going to get past them?
I'm just going to make a brilliant start and stay ahead of them all the way.
Sounds keen. Let's move on now to the Eagles, and it's Matthew Waller. Now, with Matthew, we've got an onboard camera here, so we're going to be watching you all the way around. You've got 1 guy in front of you. How are you going to get past him?
Just make a good start, then go.
Sounds keen. Now, front of the grid and holding pole position, then, is Michael Coxon for the Tigers. You're looking very laid back this morning, Michael.
Well, I'm just going to take the race how it happens and win.
Sounds good to me. Our Desert Stars have got to do 5 laps of the track. We're going to get straight on with the action. Over to you, Simon.
These Desert Stars are really exciting drive. Simply operated, foot controlled, accelerator and brakes. There we are, in Bryn Hawkins' car. Excellent for instruction. They can tackle any terrain. And straight into the lead goes the Tigers, Michael Coxon. Michael Coxon in the lead. In 2nd place for the Eagles, Matthew Waller. In 3rd place for the Wasps, Bryn Hawkins. And Gavin Richardson at the back at the moment for the Sharks. 5 laps, so a long way to go. Inside Matthew Waller's car there. And you can see the mud being thrown up. But these youngsters concentrating hard. Got to be fiercely competitive. But they've learnt this at a very young age. Crash helmet and goggles, absolute necessity here. These 500cc machines can really motor up to 75 miles an hour at top speed. And he's at top speed now, is Michael Coxon. Whoa. But again, regained his steering excellently. On board with Matthew Waller. Matthew in 2nd place. Bryn Hawkins in 3rd for the Wasps. Gavin Richardson 4th for the Sharks. Michael, 13 years old, from Stockton. A really good swimmer, in fact, good at all sports. Cross-country, rugby, football. But karting's his main love. Been karting 3 years, says he hasn't done too much damage to his body. But I bet it's taken a bit of a buffeting in those 3 years. Bryn Hawkins going a little tight round that bend. Sliding well. On board again with Matthew Waller. And look at the mud being thrown up all the time. So demanding on the stamina and the concentration. No change. Michael Coxon moving further out in front. And it looks like, barring any accidents, he's got this race firmly under control. Matthew Waller doing all he can, but he's been closed up now behind by Bryn Hawkins there. A little buffeting there. The two made contact. I think Bryn Hawkins just gone a little wide, but luckily Matthew Waller keeps going. Out in front, Michael Coxon leads. And behind him, a real battle going on for second place, but he's totally oblivious of that. Just got one thing in his mind, and that's the checkered flag. Into the last lap. And Michael Coxon looking pretty safe now, but behind him, all sorts of things going on. Bryn Hawkins has survived. He's in second place, but look at that. Little battle there, and Gavin Richardson knocks Matthew Waller out of the way. Very unlucky for Matthew Waller, been involved in two collisions. Here's the second of them. And you can see Gavin Richardson into the back. He tries to hold on, but eventually goes wide and comes to a full stop by the bank. So it's Tigers, Wasps, Sharks and Eagles.
Michael, what a race, and you're clean.
Yeah. Well, I just led it all the way from the start. I got a good start.
Did you know what was going on behind you?
No.
They were actually piling on one on top of the other, trying to catch you up.
But it was a good race, and I'm glad I won.
Valuable team points then for the Tigers. Yeah. Good start. Let's just come over here to Matthew Waller. Now, Matthew, what were you trying to do out there? Dismantle the course?
Well, I got hit from behind by Gavin, and that spun my back end round. And I tried to go around, but the car's just too big. It was just too big to go around.
Are they hard to drive, these things?
Quite hard, yeah.
Big difference to being out the back and being in front. Yeah. Basically mud.
Yeah.
Now, you've just been accused, Gavin over here, you've just been accused of belting Matthew and knocking him off the track.
Well, I just tried to go for inside, only brakes aren't so good, and just went into him.
Brakes? Are there brakes on this?
Yeah, but they're not so good.
We stay on the track for event 2. It's double trouble. The 100cc motorcycles set off. They do 3 laps of the track. On the 3rd lap, they pull into the changeover bays. The Honda pilots carry on. They do 3 laps and head for the checkered flag. Riding the 100cc motorcycles for the Eagles, it's John Hoscroft. Ready. Carl Firth rides for the Wasps.
Ready.
Lee Stevenson goes for the Sharks.
Ready.
And Mark Foster rides for the Tigers.
Ready.
We're ready with the action. Over to you, Simon.
So there's Lee Stevenson revving up, ready for the start. John Huscroft, and there Mark Foster putting on his goggles. All the safety precautions here. Right then, who's going to get the break from red to green? And it looks like Lee Stevenson's got in front. Lee Stevenson, indeed it is, for the Sharks. In second place, Carl Lee Firth for the Wasps. Just heading off John Huscroft. And at the back at the moment, it's Mark Foster for the Tigers. 3 laps of the trap, remember, before they hand over to the Honda pilots. And over the bump, Sharks first, then Wasps, Eagles, and finally Tigers. Lee Stevenson, 13 years old, from Adwick School in Doncaster. So it's Sharks in front for the Yorkshire region. Then the Wasps again, so it's Yorkshire first and second. Tyne Tees third and fourth with the Eagles and the Tigers. Lee's had, he says, few crashes in his 3 years racing motorbikes. Won several club championships. One of the most promising teenagers, young teenagers in the business. Carl Lee Firth closing up on John Hoscroft in second place. Really good battle for second. But Lee Stevenson, at the moment, in a class of his own. Mark Foster at the back in fourth place. Wonderful manoeuvring of the bike. A little bit of showboating there from Carl Lee Firth as he goes in second place. And now at the changeover point, and Lee Stevenson Hands over to Alex Short. There's Alex, 11 years old, from Bradfield School in Sheffield. Very close for second between the Eagles and the Wasps. The Tigers still fourth. And he has a heck of a bump there, and he's over. But thankfully, he's all right. You can see how quick the marshals are to the scene. Here's where he went out of control, just a little bit too much over the bump. He never regained control, and over the side door he went. But luckily, the roll cage and all the protection he has saves him, and he's in no problem at all, but a little shaken, I should think. So Fraser Sheeder in front from Gary Watling in second place for the Wasps. The yellow flag's out to indicate there's a crashed vehicle in front. On board Fraser Sheeder's car here. And he passes the stricken vehicle of Alex Short. Luckily it's just the vehicle that's stricken, not Alex. So the two of them nose to tail here. And very close to coming through on the inside, Gary Watling there. In third place, Michael Simpson. Gary not quite through for a second time. Goes inside, now looks on the outside. Phenomenal stuff from two 10-year-olds. Amazing maturity here. Once more he tries on the inside, Gary Watling. Little out of control there. Desperate to get to the finishing line in front, but he can't quite do it, and it looks like Fraser's going to hold on here in the last lap. Again, he goes on the inside, and he's overdone it this time, and Gary goes into the wire.
Alex, out of his cart. Come here, young man. What happened? That's two spin-outs you've had in these. In the practice session you spun over, and today you've done it again.
I just went too fast over at jumper. I just went over onto wheel and into bales. And
what is it? Is it that you're a maniac?
Don't know.
You hurt your leg in practice. Are you hurting now?
No, it's fine.
Hard luck for the Sharks, eh?
Yeah.
Better luck next time.
Heart-in-the-mouth time for Alex Short as he loses control of his pilot here. Into the side he goes, but the good news is he's been checked by the medical team. He's fine. Tigers lead at the halfway stage.
We're in the centre of our Super Champs course for event number 3. I call this one wet and very, very wild. In fact, they really are going to get wet. Tigers, although they're leading at the moment, it's very close fought thing because Eagles and Wasps are both in second place with 5 points apiece. So points very important in this event. We start with the famous water wall. The lads hold out their drain pipes, link them up, and water is poured from the top of the wall by myself, Matty, Hunter and Panther. When the water travels down to this last drain pipe, it's poured into the container, and then hopefully this fills with water. Once it's filled, it sets off the quads. They do 3 laps of the track, straight round to take the checkered flag. Simple as that. Wet and very wild. Let's get on with the action.
Right, a lot of theory behind this if you haven't been watching before. Let's see if the theory works in practice.
Here we come, here we come.
First job is to get that last bit of drain piping full and carry it to the tube. And looks like the Sharks are doing pretty well.
What's your end? What's your new pipe? Come on, Tank, of course I'm in the drain.
Pretty level so far. But the Sharks are about 2/3 full, which is better than anybody else at the moment.
Come on, you
Wasps filling up as well, the far side. And the Sharks look poised to go. Wasps very nearly full, but it has to be completely full to the brim before they're allowed to go. Sharks filling up. Now then, very close to going. And the Wasps are off. And Bryn Hawkins makes the move for the Wasps, so he starts out in first place. But look at Michael Coxon, who's done really well on an earlier quad bike, winning that without any problem at all in a previous heat, and he's going through once again to show his mastery of this particular discipline. Sharks in second place, Eagles third, and the Wasps, I'm afraid Bryn Hawkins struggling a little at the back. So there's Michael Coxon, member of the Lincolnshire Rower Kart Club. Says he's got loads of trophies, too many to count. And the way he's driving this, you'd hardly wonder. 13 years old, from Stockton. So a bit of him in both regions, but he's definitely out there for the Tigers and the Tyne Tees region at the moment. Looks back, but has a comfortable lead. Eagles in second place, Matthew Waller. Sharks are third with Gavin Richardson. But again, Michael Coxon displaying a load of skill and strength. Looks to be easing down now. Looks comfortable of his victory. Matthew Waller closing up, but I think he's being allowed to. Michael Coxon knows he's got this one well under control. The rear brake is activated by a foot pedal. Otherwise, all the manoeuvring is done on the handle. Eagles second. Wasps in last place, I'm afraid, at the moment. Bryn Hawkins, it's been a difficult drive for him. And continues that way and just gets it all wrong. Into the barrier he goes, but again, completely unscathed. Disappointing for him. Meanwhile, Michael Coxon goes on and on. Towards the finishing line he goes, and Michael Coxon finishes in first place for the Tigers.
Straight on.
You really came through this bale here, didn't you?
Yeah,
Are you hurt?
a little bit.
Come on, what have you done?
Just crazy.
Roughy toughy though, you're a rough tough super champ.
Yeah,
What are you?
super champ.
Good lad, well done.
No harm done, only to his pride. Tigers lead by 3 points going into the final event.
A great win there for the Tigers. What's the track conditions like?
Oh, good for quads.
Yeah, nice and dry as well.
Yeah.
Well done for the Tigers, yes!
We're on the track for the start of event 4, and it's the final race of round 4 of Super Champs. Now, it's a difficult one, this one. We've combined 2 events. It's a wet and wild and a triple decker. We're using 80cc motorcycles, the Argos and the jet skis. The motorbikes set off. They do 3 laps of the track. They hand straight to the Argos, right, Matty?
That's right, a vehicle that can travel on both land and water. 2 laps then of the Argo track, and then it's the jet skis to end the final race of round 4.
Ready to go. Red to green, and first off it looks like James Noble's made a very fine start for the Sharks. Barry Turnbull in second place for the Eagles, and Turnbull comes on the outside and takes him. What a manoeuvre that is. We've already seen earlier on in Super Champs what a prodigious rider he is on these 80cc machines, Barry Turnbull, and he's done it again. Barry Turnbull, the 12-year-old from Hartlepool, goes to Wellfield Comprehensive, and a future star we all feel in motocross. He's in front. In second place, James Noble. It's Wasps third and Tigers fourth. And it looks as if it's going to be another vain chase for the others as Barry Turnbull turns on the class here. And James Noble has fallen off in second place. James Noble for the Sharks has fallen off on the inside of that bend, and it's let David Johnson in. David Johnson in second place for the Wasps. In third place for the Tigers, it's Alan Cooper. But no doubt about this magnificent leader, Barry Turnbull. And he's a name to watch out for in future years, wherever you see motocross. Already got a fine mastery of his sport. And there are 2 races going on now. Well, it's hardly a race for the lead, just a race for second place. And what a start he gives Vicky Burton and Matthew Waller for the Argos. There they go. But the Wasps have made a good changeover. Tara Sutherland and Bryn Hawkins taken over from David Johnson. The Wasps have closed up very quickly indeed. gap of 7 or 8 seconds now reduced to one of about 3. Here on board the Sharks with Amy Pugh and Gavin Richardson. But we thought we might not have a race here, but look at this. The Wasps going for the inside. Ooh. They are furious, Tara and Bryn, furious at what they've seen here. But perhaps they made a move a bit like Ayrton Senna there. And no doubt that Vicky Burton and Matthew Waller have come off worse, for the Eagles still struggling to get started, and the Tigers have gone through into second place. That's Marie Ridley and Michael Coxon in second place, but it's the Wasps who lead. I think they're a little bit fortunate. For me, they were the ones to blame, and the ones who should be really upset are Vicky Burton and Matthew Waller in third place. What a very different race it is now. Remember, Barry Turnbull giving the Eagles such a comfortable lead. Couldn't believe it would be a strong race, but now they're in third place. And here are the leaders. On to the final stretch. And the jet skis, and away go Michael Garland and Carl Lee Firth. In second place, the Tigers, Gareth Plant and Mark Foster. The Sharks are third, with Jamie Moss and Lee Stevenson. And finally, would you believe it, the team who started out leading, Simon Gray and John Huscroft for the Eagles. So it's a Wasps in the lead. Michael Garland and Carl Lee Firth. Michael Garland doing the driving. Michael, who rides quad bikes most of the time when he's not jet skiing. The other Tigers moved up into second place. The Sharks are third, and the Eagles fourth. A lot of anxious looks behind by Carl, just to tell Michael exactly what kind of speed they need, and they see that the Tigers are closing up, in fact. Gareth Plant and Mark Foster. The looks are ever more anxious now. But they come round now to the final buoy, and they can't be overtaken. And there's the checkered flag and the salute of victory for Michael Garland and Carl Lee Firth for the Wasps. The Tigers in second place. Looks like the Sharks third, and the Eagles a very disappointing fourth.
This is where it all changed, the conflict on the Argos. Now, Eagles, you were in the lead. What happened?
We were just coming into the corner, and then the Wasp just bashed into the back and was spun round and went into the fence.
Which Tara was driving. Foul play, Tara, I reckon. What do you think?
No, well, I was cutting inside of the corner, and because Bryn told me to, and she sort of came in front of me, and I went to the back first. So
And we didn't expect it, so
You were all over the place, weren't you?
yeah.
The win takes them into second place in Heat 4. The winners by a massive margin, the Tigers.
So a convincing victory this week by the Tigers on 14 points. Add that onto the master scoreboard, Matty. Yes, that means they've got 41 points and are in joint first position with the Wasps. Close behind them, though, Eagles and Sharks on 40 points. It's now panning out that Superchamps 94 is becoming a very close fought battle. What are you doing, Matty?
Well, I've worked out here that the Wasps, in fact, are in the lead by 456,000 points. That can't be right, can it?
Plus VAT, of course. The boys are full. We'll continue our search for Superchamps 94 very soon. Hope you'll join us all then. Till then, bye-bye.
See ya, bye-bye.